Hey, welcome to week 3 of Daring Faith. We hope you've enjoyed this series so far, and this week we're diving into faith to believe. We're all familiar with the Easter story. We've grown up with it. Many of us will be able to retell the Easter story quite easily. There's a story in John 20 where John is telling us about himself and Peter, and they've heard that Jesus has risen from the dead, that he's come back to life. So him and Peter kind of almost have this kind of competing nature with one another, and they both run to the empty tomb. And it says they get to the tomb and they're looking over the place where Jesus' body lay. And it says some really interesting words in John chapter 20. And it says, and they believed. It was like almost everything else that Jesus had told them, that they had heard those things, but it was this moment. It was the evidence of Jesus coming back to life that caused them to truly believe in Jesus. That he really was who he said he was. Jesus coming back to life really did prove so many things. It proved not only that he said that he was who he said he was, but it was evidence that he was the Son of God. And everything else that he had said matched and aligned with those things. All the prophecies of old all came true at that moment. Jesus said in John 11, he says, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will live even though they die. Muhammad didn't say that. Buddha didn't say that. Billy Graham, as great as he is, not even he said that, but Jesus said that. And when he says that statement, he follows it up with this question: do you believe this? Do you believe this? It's a great question to ask. Do you believe that Jesus is the Son of God? Do you believe that he really did live, that he really did die, and that he rose again? Because actually, having faith in Jesus is not just having a head knowledge of who he is, but it's having that heart connection with him. What does it mean to have faith to believe in Jesus? What faith do you have in Jesus? Do you just have a head knowledge of him, or do you have that heart commitment? Because actually, when we begin to walk out in faith, when we begin to put legs on our belief and our understanding of who Jesus is, there are a couple of things that could happen. The first one is this, is that we need to turn everything over to Jesus. We need to turn our whole lives over to him. It's almost like a under new management sign goes up over our hearts. It's that moment when we say the old is gone and I've been taken over by a new way, a new understanding, a new outlook, that Jesus is able to take over our lives, and we hand everything over to him. Turning everything over to Jesus means confessing, as Paul says in Romans, that Jesus is Lord, that we believe he is Lord and we receive him. We make that heart connection. You see, the word believe is not just to believe something, but it's ultimately to trust in something. It's to cling to hold on to something, to attach yourself to something. And when we believe in Jesus, that's the thing we do, is that moment we move from a head knowledge of him to that heart commitment towards Jesus. We turn everything over to him. The second thing that should happen around us when we choose to put our faith in Jesus and make that heart commitment is that we trust what he says. That the Bible is full of amazing promises. In fact, there are over 7,000 promises in the Bible for you. The promises of God and the commands of God are two different things. You see, the commands of God are, if you do this, your life will be easier. If you follow these commands, life will work out well for you. Marriage will work out. Parenting will be that little bit easier if you follow these commands. But the promises of God are different. The promises of God are things that when you doubt, when you get frustrated, when life hits you sideways, when those things happen, the promises of God are those things that we hold on to. We have the commands of God and the promises of God, and we can trust in those things. We need to trust the things that Jesus says. Book of Hebrews tells us that God cannot lie. It goes against his nature, it goes against his character to lie. Everything he tells you is truth. He has to tell the truth. And so we need to trust what he says. So not only do we turn our lives over to him, put that under new management sign up, but we also need to trust the things that he says. We need to receive Jesus. We need to believe and receive him. I wonder for you if or maybe you've done a really good job of believing, that you've got the head knowledge. We've believed that Jesus is the Son of God. We believe that he lived, that he died, that he rose again. And we have a really good amount of head knowledge of Jesus. But actually, if we're really honest, we've not received Jesus. We've not made that heart connection with him. I wonder today, do you dare to believe in Jesus? Do you dare to put your faith in him? Not just believe in him, but receive him. Receive him into your heart and go on that incredible journey of discovering what it is to have faith in Jesus and to have a relationship with him. God bless you.